Have you ever wondered what it would be like to live the life of a superstar like Lionel Messi? You know what I'm talking about, like private jets, baller mansions, like killer vacations. Yeah, me too. But here's the thing, Lionel Messi, this guy is like on a whole nother level, dude. This dude just inked a contract for $150 million over the next 2 years. So to put that in perspective, that's $1.5 million per week, or broken down by day, $214,000 per day. So here, before I go any further, let's do a little fun experiment. If you were making $214,000 a day, what would be the first thing that you would buy? What's up, guys? I'm Johnny, and today we're gonna dive into the world of mansions, mortgages, and Messi. We're gonna discuss the hidden costs of home ownership, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna teach you just how much home you can afford on your current salary. And for those of you who are daydreaming to live a rock star life like Messi, at the end of this video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you exactly how much you would need to make to afford a property like his $10.8 million mansion he just purchased in Miami. So stick around. The first thing we need to do is understand the basics and the foundation of home buying. So the first thing I want to talk about is mortgages. So your mortgage payment is really just your payment on the money borrowed to purchase the property. But here's the thing, there's a couple things that are going to have an impact on the amount of money you pay back. The biggest of which is, of course, going to be the interest rate. So I want to give you a quick example of how dramatically a difference in an interest rate can impact your monthly payments. So let's take a house at $500,000 and let's pretend that's the amount you're financing. If you financed $500,000 at 5%, your monthly payment would be $2,650. Whereas that same $500,000 financed at 7.5% are going to be around $3,490 per month. That's a difference of $840 per month. So it's pretty significant. Now, if you want to learn about mortgages and mortgage finance, kind of some of the boring stuff, I have an entire playlist dedicated to just this. Now, the next thing we got to talk about is property taxes. So the government has their hand in every single pie, and your home is no exception. But here's the thing, you're going to pay a different amount of property taxes depending on where that property is located. And I'll give you an example. The average tax rate in Hawaii is 0.27%. Now that's 0.27% of the assessed value as dictated by the tax assessor value. But if you go to a place like New Jersey, the average tax rate is 2.23% of the assessed value. So those are two big numbers. Let me show you how they play out on a $500,000 home. So in Hawaii, all we have to do is take our $500,000 purchase price, multiply it by 0.27%, and that's going to give us an annual payment of $1,350 per year, which is only around $112 per month. That same property in New Jersey multiplied by 2.23% gives us a grand total of $11,500 per year, or roughly $930 per month. That's a huge difference, about $818 per month. So you can see that your property tax rate is going to have a significant impact on your monthly payments. So the next thing we got to talk about is property insurance. And here's the thing about property insurance. The amount of the coverage is going to depend on what you're protecting and the areas the property's in. So here's what it will protect against. Things like a baseball coming through the window, or if there's a flood, or if there's a hurricane, if there's an earthquake. But all of these different policies, they have different premiums based on what you choose to cover and at which coverage amounts. And then lastly, you're gonna wanna budget for repairs. Sometimes you have a leaky faucet, maybe you've got a leaky roof. Sometimes like the toilet does that thing where it just like runs forever because the little floaty thing doesn't work, whatever. You gotta repair that, and so you need to make sure that you're budgeting. The general rule of thumb is 1% of the property's value per year. So I'll give you an example. If the property is $500,000, you would want to budget $500 or $5,000 per year, which is like somewhere around $400 per month for things like that. And because of all these things, sometimes in some scenarios, sometimes it just makes sense just to rent. So that brings up the next question. For the average person with a modest salary, how much home can you actually afford? Well, let's take a look. Let's start by running some numbers on this 4,000 square foot, 6-bedroom, 4-bath home in Lancaster, Texas. Keep in mind, the average rate across the country right now is right around 7.5%. So I'm going to use that number when I do this breakdown. First, we have the mortgage payment. Now with a standard 20% down payment, you need to pay about $82,400 down. And that would leave you with a mortgage balance that you're actually financing of $329,600. And at a 7.5% interest rate over 30 years, you're looking at a monthly payment of approximately $2,305. The next thing we need to consider is property taxes. And in Lancaster, Texas, the estimated property taxes are roughly 1.72% of the purchase price. And on our $412,000 home, that's an annual tax hit of $7,066, or roughly $588 per month. Next, we need to factor in our homeowner's insurance. and that comes in around $1,730 per year, roughly $144 per month. Finally, we have to budget for repairs. And the general rule of thumb is to set aside 1% of the home's value annually for repairs and maintenance. That's about $4,120 per year, or roughly $343 per month. Now, if you add all this up, it's roughly $3,380 per month. And here's the thing, this also doesn't account for things like HOAs, or if you want to like repaint a bathroom now and then, or utilities, right? You got to account for all those things. And sometimes this can come as a bit of a sticker shock for some people. But here's what I want you to keep in mind. A portion of this payment every month is going directly towards your principal, which means your loan balance is going to be going down. So over time, what happens is your property appreciates in value and your loan balance comes down, and that creates equity in the property. This is why real estate is one of the best places to put your money in to invest, because it creates wealth. Now, is there a general rule that you should follow when you're financing a home? The answer is yes. Okay, it's called the 30-30-3 rule, and I'm gonna break it down for you exactly what it is. Now, the first 30 is actually putting 30% down. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh my gosh, Johnny, I've always heard it's only 20% down, or I can put 3.5% down. Those are actually true. Actually, what I'm talking about is best case scenario. If you had 30% to put down, that would give you access to really good rates. And obviously by putting 30% down, you're financing less, so your payment's going to be less. But this is not the answer for everybody, especially in today's economic climates. There are actually programs where you can put 0% down. There are 100% financing loans. You do have to qualify for those. So if you want to know if you qualify for them, talk to a mortgage broker. Now, one rule that I do suggest you follow is the second 30. The second 30 basically means that your mortgage payment and all the expenses that we outlined earlier in this video shouldn't exceed 30% of your gross monthly income. And the reason for that is because you don't want all of your money to go to your mortgage payment every month. You want to be able to maintain a lifestyle, go out and hang out with your buddies, and you don't want to be checking the bank account before you're swiping at the grocery store. Lastly, we have the 3 in the 30-33. And the 3 basically means that any property you buy should be no more than 3 times your annual income. So if you make $100,000 per year, the home should not be more than $300,000. Here's the thing. I'm a little bit flexible on this one. The middle 30, when we talk about our monthly payments and all of our money going towards our mortgage payment, that is really the one I'd be mostly concerned. So now that you understand all these principles, I want to let you know what a lender is going to look at when you actually go and apply for a loan. And before I go into all that, I want to highly recommend that if you are going to apply for a loan, you work with a mortgage broker. And the reason for that is because a mortgage broker is going to be able to be way more flexible in terms of the type of program that they can put you in, especially if you're like self-employed or you have kind of unstable income. A broker can take your loan and shop it between the lenders and get you a really good rate at a really good price. So I highly recommend that you work with a mortgage broker and not a direct lender. Now, the first thing they're going to look at is going to be your income. So here's the thing, they're going to want to see W-2s, maybe tax returns, bank statements, 1099, just depending on how you get paid. And this could be really intimidating for some people, turning over their financial documents. Here's one way that you can make it really easy and less intimidating. Just be organized. Have all your tax returns ready, have your W-2s saved to a file on your computer where you can grab them quickly, a couple recent pay stubs, and just be prepared to answer questions about how you get paid. And that will make it really easy and way less stressful for both you and the loan officer you're working with. Next is going to be your DTI, or your debt to income. And all that really means is how much money do you bring in every month based on the income statement you provided versus how much money is required to go out. Things like credit card bills. And what they're looking at specifically on credit card bills is the minimum monthly payment. Do you own any boats? Do you own any vehicles? And all of those minimum monthly payments are going to be factored into your outgoing money versus your incoming money. The general rule of thumb here is you want to be below 45% DTI. That means if you make $10,000 per month, your monthly expenses, including the mortgage you're applying for, needs to be below $4,500. Now, there are some exceptions to this. Sometimes you can go higher than that 45%, and sometimes you can go lower. Again, this is a conversation for a mortgage broker, depending on the program that you're going into. And lastly, they're going to look at your credit score. Now, here's the thing. Everybody gets weird about the credit score thing. My credit's dropped. I don't want you pulling my credit, all these things. But a good mortgage broker is going to help you in a couple ways. First, they likely have access to programs for people with credit scores below 600. Second, they're going to give you a plan to get that credit score up. So when it's time to close escrow, you have a better credit score, which means you'll have access to a better rate at a lower cost. Okay, now that we've got all the boring stuff out of the way, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's find out exactly how much you would need to make based on the rules we established earlier to afford this $10,800,000 property that Mezzi just closed on in Miami. Now keep in mind, this is totally hypothetical and we're just having fun. These guys with this amount of money, they don't buy houses like you and I. They are not using the same type of financing instrument. With a purchase price of $10.8 million and assuming a 20% down payment, you would be stroking a check at the close of escrow for roughly $2.16 million to cover the down payment funds. That would leave you with a mortgage of roughly $8,640,000. Yikes. At 7.5% interest rate over 30 years, the monthly payment is a staggering $60,000 per month. Now, considering we have to cover property taxes, that's roughly $9,000 per month. Then we have insurance. And given the location of this property, I would estimate the homeowner's insurance around $2,083 per month. Finally, we have repairs. Using our 1% rule for annual repairs and maintenance, roughly $9,000 per month. When you add all that up, you're looking at a monthly cost of roughly $80,000 per month. But that's just chump change to Mezzi because this dude makes $214,000 per day, not even including endorsement deals. Now, you're probably not looking to buy an $11 million property waterfront in Miami. But if you are looking to buy a property and this video provided some value, I'd appreciate a like. And don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in learning about real estate investing, and current market trends. Thank you guys for stopping by. God bless.